Welcome to YouTube Unsolved, Season 3. That's right. You might notice a tiny thing different about the way things are laid out now, clearly, so I'd like to introduce you to the new Santorium. This is the new YouTube Unsolved lair. Of course. I know it's very impressive, but just hold your horses, because we have something even more impressive to talk about in today's installment. Season 3, Episode 1. Obviously, what we like doing here on YouTube Unsolved is finding the most crazy, ridiculous mysteries, and then finally solving them, putting them to rest. Sometimes they're extremely old, sometimes they're not that old at all. In this case, only a couple of months old. But we've all seen the type of videos that promise to tell you some really interesting secret about you, guess your age, maybe even hypnotize you to do something at some point. We've all seen them. And the vast majority are complete hogwash. But is that actually the case? Hypnosis has actually been medically known to help change the way the brain works in a positive way, when motives are correct, and especially when the technique is done correctly. But what happens when the motives aren't sincere? What if they're perhaps even insidious? Could some mad scientist just take over the world and demand restitution from everyone just because they learned the dark side of hypnosis? Not likely, because for the most part it relies on a very specifically known phenomenon called placebo. The very act of believing something is going to work, or a treatment, can actually guide the brain to psychologically make it better, without even any physical thing being done to do so. Nocebo, on the other hand, can actually weaken and undo everything of that, and in some cases, if it's extreme enough, even make the brain potentially behave in a way that would be completely contrary to how that individual would act normally. But all of that speculation is about to be put on hold as we jump into the reality-breaking story, which is going to bring to light the more sinister side of this exact thing. Beyond that of just some cartoon Scooby-Doo tales and funny, well-recognizable spinning spirals, this, my friends, is real life. And real disturbing. This is the video that hypnotized someone to murder. There is a YouTube channel called Santzero Santone. At first glance, and to its own description, it comes off as being an alternative style of channel that specializes in videos on abstract shapes, patterns, and geometry. This, given credit to itself, is not at all that odd. Sure, upon diving deeper into it and coming across the comment sections of its most popular videos being well more on the unusual side, along with cryptic statements exclaiming how their videos are voyages to ancient worlds, one's uncanny detector just might start going off. But still, so what? Well, that brings us to the next, far more disturbing part of the story that will soon be connected. On May 31st, 2021, in late evening in East Alabama, a man by the name of Houston Todd Stallings used a knife to assault and rob his grandmother spontaneously after breaking into her house without any apparent motive. He apparently left the scene in the woman's car after taking $200 from the house and leaving the grandmother with near deadly wounds. This is already abhorrent enough to label as an inexcusable action, all for the likes of $200, making the incentive behind it rather inconceivable. What further confuses things is the fact that he was purportedly inebriated or lackadaisical in some way upon being arrested, despite the fact of not being under the influence of drugs at the time, according to tests. So due to this crime being extremely recent, not much more information can actually be said about it. Not much has been revealed, and the investigation on the entire reasoning and motives behind it is still ongoing, which is why at this point we're jumping into the perspective of the information given to me by a YouTube Unsolved fan going by the name of Sam Clemmings. The following testimony is going to be told straight through Sam's perspective. Hello, Inferness. Hopefully this is the right place to send this in. I'm not sure, but this is very important. I'm about 100% sure I found one, if not all of the personal social media accounts of someone who just got arrested for trying to kill his grandmother. And it's weird. Please look into this for me. Sam, which is the name they chose to go by as per request, linked a single Reddit post along with a mobile screenshot of the same post seemingly taken some time before, as the account had since been deleted. According to Sam, the Reddit account linked multiple or other social accounts such as Facebook and Instagram, of which only Instagram remained up. Socially Vindictive was the username, which adds up to the supposed Instagram link that also belonged to them, the name of the account being Todd Stallings 1. The PP Pants factor only raises from here as we read the post Socially Vindictive wrote on the subreddit r/answers on May 15th. I recently saw a few videos around YouTube, and now I'm thinking something might have been about them that wasn't right. Weren't anything crazy, just a bunch of shapes and sounds and all that. I don't know how I found them, just one popped up on my page, so I started down them all. Since I've got a thing telling me on and off that I need to consume and destroy someone. Not like a voice, but a repeated feeling that makes me want to hurt someone. More and more, it gets louder. The one response to this post said the following: "That's not normal. A visit to the doctor should work. Maybe you could help out with the title of the videos? It sound cool." The original poster replied with, "Santzero Big Bang something like was the page name." I love how the responder was just like, "Yeah, that right there, probably should see a doctor or something like that, but yo, what's the name of that title? I gotta get me some." Okay, so if the claim is that this is indeed the same person's account, which the timing, of course, everything else would add up with that, then we indeed have a mystery on our hands, gang. And when a mystery presents itself, you know what time it is. After doing 5 or so minutes of research through the keywords provided by the OP, and with the help of more dedicated ace detectives in the YouTube Unsolved Discord that you should join, we come across something that should now be familiar: Santzero Santone. Okay, now it's time to look into this a bit further, considering what we now know. Big Bang is one of the terms the original poster used recounting the title. There are a couple videos on the channel with that phrase, which in specific, we of course can't know for sure, but I can't help but grow suspicious of the one in particular that seems a bit more flashy than the rest, to say the least. Okay, so what we do know is that this channel's name is Santzero Santone. Sandro Douglads? No, not that. We're done with that. We're done with you, Sandro. And they upload psychedelic, hypnosis, third eye, chakra style videos, essentially. And what we also know is that in all these videos they have similar sounds to binaural beats. Now, what those are essentially certain frequencies of sound of which, if you listen to them, they can trigger certain autonomous responses in your brain. Perhaps if you're the type of person that might be negatively affected by them for some reason, you could actually maybe even go a little bit insane if you listen to it for too long. But most people just listen to it because it helps them go to sleep or whatever. That could definitely be one thing that we need to look into as to a potential cause. Flashing and repeating imagery. So basically, this is also similar in all kinds of hypnosis strategies where a certain frequency of images that have a certain level of repetition are given at one time to match up with the sound in the exact right way to trigger something up here to basically make it so that the brain wants to act in some way or think in some way. And they're very cryptic in nature. It's not just like, oh hey guys, by the way, I'm just gonna upload these videos about flashing images and binaural beats, and it's just meant to be entertaining. No, it's just a bunch of whole weird voodoo type writing in all the titles and descriptions, and the comments, they're just about the same thing. I don't know if they're just all bots, but something's not adding up with that. But in order to actually figure out what is going on here, we need to compare both sides of the facts. Houston Todd Stallings had a notable history of drug abuse and robbery crimes, making this break and entry he committed not all unsimilar. However, never up to this point was any crime against his family ever recorded, let alone any known misconduct whatsoever. The urge to suddenly attempt to murder a family member, which he fortunately did not succeed at, seems completely unfounded. It should also be noted that upon being apprehended, the suspect was incredibly uneasy and seemingly drunk, despite not being drunk per se. This cannot be entirely confirmed along with many other details, but we can say that due to plain probability thanks to the info from Sam, the Reddit post was indeed made by the perpetrator, who predictably lost their account soon after the crime was committed. which is generally what happens on all social platforms after a user does something like this. But the most unnerving details only arise after reading a few other people's experiences watching the videos in their very comment sections. So we actually have some other users claiming other weird experiences and things about these videos, primarily uploaded by Santzero, and they all have lots of also very unnerving tales about what happened to them after they watched some of the videos. I mean, they're not killing their grandmothers or anything like that, so just keep that in mind, but still, regardless, let's take a look. Does anyone get an instant headache when watching this? I'm a fan of this channel, but this one just affects me somehow. Had a dream of whirling black holes and disturbing geometry the night after watching even a couple seconds of this person's stuff. I have no idea what's in it, but it can't be all that innocent. The visuals aren't anything special, it's the music. It goes in specific tritone frequencies. Sometimes it's used for meditation, but if the visuals match the shift of the frequency, it can do some weird to your mind. I saw a couple shape under eyelids hallucinating after watching, but that's it. I think it's just cool art. Okay, well that's a nice twist straight into Noteville. Just so you know, I had to watch a whole lot of these videos. I forced myself to do it for the sake of making this video, so I mean, I kind of put my life at risk for you people. You better leave a like at least. I mean, gee whiz. Alright, so our final analysis of this entire story. Santzero Santone provides absolutely no context or realistically legible context to any of their videos. When it comes to me and my personal output on this, I don't subscribe or believe with any of the ideas of hypnotism through YouTube videos. I do understand the whole idea behind tricking your brain into thinking that some kind of hypnotism is going to work, but when it comes to just being able to make you forget your name with a YouTube video, I don't think so. I just really don't think so. It all really stems back to the entirety of the 2017 colorblind video type clickbait era. And by the way, the very night after I watched a few of these videos to get some context, after researching this subject, I had a very peculiar dream about me walking down a street, and then there's an ocean on the right side, and then a whole bunch of alien crafts were just like literal UFOs were flying in and out of the ocean, and then all of a sudden it was nighttime and I was walking on that same street. I remember trying to get home or something, and then this big blue beam just shoots out of the sky, just from one of the ships apparently, and then all of a sudden everything in my vision just turns black, and that was pretty much the end of the dream. I personally don't ever dream at all for the most part. I don't remember any dreams, so the fact that I had that dream and being that vivid right after watching that, maybe I could try speaking to Cthulhu now. Apparently this channel is just the initiation of worthiness. But on a serious note, the implications are severe if we want to conclude that some video on this channel was actually able to brainwash someone to doing such a heinous act. Something tells me that just might not hold up too well in court. So concluding thoughts. What do I think of the Santzero Santone channel? Well, first of all, there's about 9 different mispronunciations of which I have done in this video. There might just be someone on the internet who goes by the same name as the person or the suspect of this crime, who had an account, who watched this video and then went on Reddit and then proclaimed that they were feeling murderous thoughts, or maybe that they were feeling like they needed to apparently hurt someone, but they weren't actually that person. But their account was deleted right after, within the time span of the submitter, Sam, taking a screenshot of the original and then me checking it. So that couldn't have been more than a couple of days. So unless this person had just deleted their account for no reason, that seems to not be adding up. So if this is indeed the person who committed this crime, then we can honestly say that there's a 50-50 chance that somehow the videos on this channel were able to very specifically wire the neurons in this person's brain to act in a different way. The person or the guy already had a known history of violence and drugs and what have you, but maybe whatever kind of messages or subliminal things in a certain video, perhaps the Big Bang video as we discussed, somehow amplified those personal traits and resulted in this happening. When it comes down to the end conclusion, I can only say that this mystery is still unsolved. So we could put this one into the record books, because that's all we have for today. Stay tuned for the next episode of YouTube Unsolved. I'm going to aim to try to produce at least 2 of these every single month. This first month, for the season premiere, we're going to be doing 3 episodes, so this is going to just be the first one. 2 more throughout August, so I'm going to try to keep up that schedule and hopefully also maintain it. And yeah, so that is the video that potentially hypnotized someone to commit a crime. You can come to your own conclusion on the matter. As for me, I'm done here with my investigation. I'm already kind of creeped out, so enough is enough for today. My name is Dallas, aka Infernus, and you've been watching YouTube Unsolved, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.